welcome to our Life Choices show. That's Mary, I'm Tina. And this is a show where we talk about why we as women make the choices we make in our lives. And it's a show about a quest for purpose and meaning in our life. Today, we're going to talk about beauty. And I think most women think about beauty quite a bit, and I think we know some secrets about beauty and what beauty means in life, not just for us, but for everybody. We have a very special guest here today, Alana Stubblebine. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, and we're so happy to have you. And she is a very special person, but above all, and you'll be totally shocked. She has 6 girls, and we're going to show you a photograph of her beautiful 6 girls right now. And will you tell us about your girls? How old
Yes,
they are?
I don't know how that's possible physically, but yes, we have 6 girls from ages 13 down to 2. And I think one of the things that the lessons that I've learned from this experience is that from this one body came 6 completely different body types.
Right. But you know, the really nagging
Completely
question I think
different.
right now that the audience might have is, how can you look so beautiful after 6
Oh my
children?
goodness. Oh my goodness. It's just amazing. We have our own little shop, in-house beauty shop going on. So
Yes. So beauty must mean a lot in your house. There's an overload probably of beauty discussions and talks.
in fact, we've discussed taking one of our rooms and literally putting racks to make it a boutique because they're very much girly girls too.
Yes.
So I surrender at this point. I have to go with it. It's funny because I think as women, I think we're born with something inside of us that wants to create beauty and add beauty and wherever we go. So we have these little pockets throughout our entire house of just creations.
Yes. So they're all like makeup. They all like do their
even the
hair,
2-year-old.
like
Already the
dressing
2-year-old.
up. Oh,
Yes,
even gosh.
it's because they almost get worse as they go down the ranks because they're watching their older sisters.
Right. And they're trying to just be as pretty as the
Right.
Oh, that's
So there's a lot of talk of fashion and how to dress, the perfect bow for the hair probably.
There is, and it's gotten, with a 13-year-old, it's gotten interesting recently because there's a lot of changing body types and a lot of tears and feeling uncomfortable and awkward. So we had an experience recently where there was the tears and nothing fits and my hips are too big, my legs are too long. She grew 4 inches in 1 year. And finally I just said, that's it, we're going to the mall. And I put her in a dressing stall and I said, you're not looking at the tags, the sizes.
Right.
And I brought in probably about 45 pairs of jeans. They're all different, so many choices today. Right. I said, you're not going to look at the sizes. We're just going to keep going. We'll stay here for 3 hours if we have to, until we find the right pair of jeans. Because, and we did. We found a beautiful pair, but it just took that extra time to make her feel good, even with the shape that God has given her.
And that's a big part, I think, for women. The beauty question is not just how something looks, but it's also how something feels. Right? It has to feel right and harmonious. And I think what's important also when you're raising girls to not just focus on the external of beauty, but also to talk about internal beauty, right? And you were just saying how each of your girls is so different.
Right, and it's interesting because I have in their rooms, they have hung this mirror and that
it says masterpiece.
It says
Can we
masterpiece
see that,
on
please?
it, only because I had to sit down and explain to them that if you take the Mona Lisa, she wouldn't have said to Leonardo da Vinci, I don't like the way you made my nose. Can you make it this way? And someday we're going to have to meet our master and creator. And we don't want to say, I don't like the way you made me and all of this. So we've had that discussion about you are a masterpiece created very uniquely.
Right.
That's wonderful.
Fashioned uniquely so that they get that they're different. In seeing all the sisters, they really get that because their body types are completely different.
Right. And there has to be a kind of wholesomeness to true beauty, right?
Yes.
That's an important lesson for them, so that they don't just grow up feeling they have to respond to fashions and kind of fit in with the other girls wearing the latest pair of jeans that might not fit so well, but to really feel that what their external appearance is in harmony with their inner beauty and values, right? So it's kind of a wholesomeness rather than just kind of following suit with everybody else.
It is, and it takes a real craft to try to get them to internalize that. One of the other tools that I use is well, there's a couple things. We recently had, for my 10-year-old had a birthday, and the theme was based of a verse on the Bible that says, "Your hands have made me and fashioned me." So we had these cute little favors. But it was a fashion show with everybody from her class, all different colors, shapes, sizes.
Right.
And we got to talk about the beautiful garden that they all made up together, and they did the runway. It was really a beautiful thing. So taking the opportunity to kind of using the Bible to teach them these lessons.
To feel real self-esteem that's inside.
Yes, that they're
And
fashioned
confidence
uniquely
rather
and
than-
created differently.
Yes, that's beautiful.
On purpose.
Look at all this stuff.
Without mistake.
I have 4 boys, and I have the hardest time getting them out of their athletic clothes. And you have all these beautiful, pretty things.
I
It's
know.
really-
Well, Alana, tell us a little bit about the fashion show. How did you organize that and get the kids interested in that?
Well, so we talked a little bit about the theme here, this verse, and I sat them all on the couch, and it's actually a YouTube video we made, and you see the shapes and the sizes and the colors down the couch. It's beautiful, all the girls in her class. And then we had them bring 3 outfits each.
Oh, they brought their own clothes.
Yes, and they had to bring them, and then they did the runway. But we did talk about the garden. And we took pictures of that they were this beautiful garden. And imagine if they all had the same color, they all had the same eye color, they all had, how boring that garden would be.
Yes.
And they really got that. And I talked a little bit about how when I was a young girl, I was the tallest in my class. And I had little eyes, you get made fun of for standing out, anything that you're different. But now as you get older, you realize
You're
that
unique.
it's good to be different, and you appreciate that when you get older. It just makes life more interesting.
It's one of your gifts.
So
Everybody's got a gift.
They got that. I really
that's
did. All the
great.
shapes and sizes. I think they really got it.
So this was a class, was it a public school class or
Public
was it their
school.
Sunday school class?
Nope, it was this public school.
Oh,
Yep.
great.
The 5th grade at Lincoln.
What a great
Yes.
message for the
It
kids.
was really fun.
So,
I think also what's important if you're raising girls probably is to teach them that beauty actually increases with age. Because we live in a culture where it seems to be so youth-focused, right? Like the young Hollywood actresses. And then somehow in the celebrity culture we lose sight of the fact that women really grow in beauty. You might have more wrinkles, but your personality shines through.
Right.
Right?
you're more
And if you
comfortable
have
with yourself.
Yes, you're more comfortable with
yeah.
yourself. And if you have inner values and you are a kind, good person.
I mean, as a
that
culture,
shines
I think
through.
we're really doing our young girls a disservice right now. I mean, you hear these 15-year-old girls saying, "Oh, when I turn 18, I'm going to get a nose job or plastic surgery," and we have a big responsibility right now to teach our younger generation about true beauty.
Yes, that's amazing. The opportunity you have and also the challenge that you face in our present day culture. Now you do a lot more though than raise 6 girls, if that weren't enough yet.
Right.
But you are also involved in a ministry for women that is
Right.
called Refresh Ministry.
Right,
And so you
Refresh
focus
Ministries.
a lot on women's value in general.
On these issues, yes, and there's all different ages, and we put on these quarterly events, and we'll bring in speakers. But as I tell my girls and the women that we're speaking to, this one chapter of the Bible that deals specifically with beauty. And Proverbs 31, there's 31 verses, and I explain to people, only one of these verses deals with physical beauty. All of the other ones are internal qualities in the inner core of our being, who we are, creating a joyful spirit, having a good outlook on all of these other virtues. So proportionately, I'll tell the girls, if there's 24 hours in a day, let's compare this to Proverbs 31, and dedicate 1 hour to the physical beauty, and all of the rest, we have all of these other virtues to work on.
To develop as a whole person.
Right, we use that as a measuring stick on to gauge.
Well, I think that's a great focus because it's so practical. You're talking about how many hours a day do you spend on your body or your physical appearance.
Yes. Exactly.
And even because there's a lot of obsession also with being thin, right?
Big obsession. And in fact, I think probably maybe girls are spending 10 hours focused on this today.
Really?
Really?
Not looking in the mirror,
Yes.
talking about it or working out. Not just girls, it's our age, women.
Right.
Women who are
Yes.
kind of trying to recapture that 20-year-old body.
Yes, and then it's a very depressing endeavor because you're never going to be in a 20-year-old body again, no matter what you do.
I mean, Christy Brinkley covered People magazine in her bathing suit at 60 this month.
Did she?
So this is what we're up against here. Really, at 60.
Yeah.
Wow. So, okay. Did she look like she was 20?
Of course.
See it. Oh, okay.
It's a lot of photoshopping.
Airbrushing, but yes.
Right.
So in general. No, but it's important that we see all those inner values, right? And then and teach our children what inner beauty really is. It's a whole value system, and that gives us the purpose too in life. And that's what helps us grow in every way and develop and become.
Right, and you referred to this, where you said you're responding to ads, you're responding to magazines and stars, and I think that's another thing. A woman, because she's sensitive, may sense that she doesn't have all the gifts, she doesn't have a perfect body or a perfect face or perfect hair. So she may want to, be insecure and look at other people and say, I want to be more like that person.
Right.
So to give them that sense that what's valuable about you is not just the way you look,
right,
but what you've done in life, how you've responded to difficulties.
Right.
So how do the girls respond to you when you say things like that?
Well,
girls and women, right?
Yes, and you just reminded me of another verse that talks about, looking back to the women of the past, and like Sarah in the Bible, and how they adorned themselves with beauty was by serving and laying their life down. Mm-hmm. So the girls, I of course, I can't teach them that just with my words. They need to see that, and if they're gonna really get that lesson. So it may be 12 o'clock at night, and I'm exhausted and just want to dive into bed, and I have four of the bigger girls lined up waiting for me to blow dry their hair for school the next day, and I have to just do it. You just lay down your own agenda to help them and serve.
And I think we do have to also still differentiate, even though we talk of inner beauty, we still want to have that reflected in our external appearance, right? So it is important that we do try and look nice. It's just that in our own way. It isn't that we don't feel forced we have to fit into a certain form or,
that's right.
or category, right? It's good to present ourselves in an attractive way. In a respectful way that shows also self-respect, right? And kind of shows a harmony in the world. You do want to fit in somehow.
Yes.
And there are these fashions where people, it doesn't matter how ugly they really look, they want to stand out. Right. So they do all kinds of things to their bodies even. Just to
My motto is WOW, W-O-W, woman of worth. Mm-hmm. That kind of a response is what you want to invoke rather than the...
Right, and that means the confidence and the beauty. And beauty is important in life. And sometimes we really lose sight of that, and we can just get so carried away with routines, and I'm sure everybody here watching this show, we can get really obsessed with the little things of life, with the drama of things, and just reacting to all kinds of issues that happen during the day, instead of taking a moment, and that's, I think, really important to appreciate the beauty that's everywhere in life, is take a moment, be present in the moment, and meditate on what's around you. Right. And look and see. We lose sight of that.
Right.
I think, and you also alluded to this, but we can be overly practical. Like now women are kind of walking around with their sweatpants, yoga pants.
Yes.
And it is more comfortable to wear your most comfortable clothes.
Right.
But that, in a way, is not serving the people who have to look at you.
Right.
Because part of what we're doing when we dress well and when we dress up, when we do our makeup and hair, we're serving others because we know they're looking at us.
Right.
Yes, plus...
I like that. That's a good way to look at it.
And also, my mother would always say, well, if you're unhappy and depressed, look yourself in the mirror, put on some lipstick and do your hair.
It elevates
and just look at yourself and try to bring out the best in you. And sometimes, some makeup does help, or brushing your hair.
I was going to show you this sign. Somebody made this for my daughter, but we have it hanging in the room because we said, as girls, we want to add sparkle. Wherever we go, it just adds light to the room. When you walk in, you want it to sparkle.
And by the way, this sparkly tablecloth was brought in by Alana. So you can see her life is full of sparkle.
Over here.
It matches. It's beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and then I think, though, also beyond appearance and fashion and the way we look, there, of course, there's other beauty in our lives. And we can add beauty through, I think, reaching out to people, just being kind to other people and seeing people's response to us. I think we can add beauty by feeling connections with other people and adding to people's lives. So we shouldn't downplay that. And of course, when we say somebody really is a beautiful person, we often do refer to incredible virtue and beautiful acts of kindness, right? And that can make our life so much richer. And that, again, is something we only discover when we take the time.
It takes time. We're moving so fast today as a culture that we're missing that.
Yes.
We're not taking the time to see that.
To be with people.
Yes.
So how about your Refresh ministry? Does that speak to what Tina's talking about?
Absolutely. We've covered all topics. In fact, this year we're doing a big Mother's Day tea, and former Miss America is coming as our speaker to talk about that. When she went home and she got her crown, the emptiness that came very shortly after that, and how she hit rock bottom, and how then she had to really build herself from the inside out. And now it's beautiful to her. Her story, she's beautiful. She's an author and speaker, and so that's really fun.
So that she had sort of put all of her eggs, so to speak, in a basket of beauty contest kind of beauty.
Yes,
and
superficial.
Right, because that's what it comes down to. Because let's face it, I mean, as you say, we get I think it's very optimistic that we get more beautiful as we get older, but I think ultimately we all do grow old.
Yes.
And we grow old, and maybe we are as beautiful as we can be when we're old. But what
we also hopefully grow wiser.
Right. So what we really want to be, I think, is peaceful with the life that we've led.
And graceful. Let it happen gracefully, naturally.
Right. Yeah. And that part of that is, living well.
Yes.
And making good choices.
Making wise choices.
Making conscious choices.
Right. So do you see a big difference between, say, a 20-year-old and a 30-year-old and a 40, since you're kind of dealing with all generations?
Yes.
Do you see
There's an absolute difference happening with the younger 20-something generation as opposed to above 40. Where this new... there's a book on marriage written by Tim Keller right now, and he pastors a big church in New York City, thousands of people, and he said he looked across his audience, they're all in their 20s and 30s, and he realized probably only 5% were married. And so there's this thing happening where, why get married? Why have a family? You don't need to. There's just this, live for today.
Better take care of yourself.
Take care of yourself and live for today. That's the mentality. So we have some work as the older generation has some real work cut out for them to speak into this younger generation.
Right, about the beauty of marriage.
Because they're getting it all from the media in Hollywood right now, which isn't where we want them getting it.
Right.
Yeah.
The message of what the best life is.
Yes.
There was an article, I think it was the cover of a magazine, Single and Happy or something.
Exactly.
And it was two people, a woman and a man, like laying on a beach with a cocktail. Like, we don't need kids. No kids.
Exactly. They're a burden.
Yeah. Like, having children is a big burden.
Exactly.
So...
Well, also, I think when you decide to get married, it is kind of the step towards also getting a little more mature, right? It's a sign of maturity to make that commitment, take that responsibility. And that is part, in fact, also for many people of then growing in beauty and having this maturity that creates this growing beauty rather than the one, okay, I'm just going to look really good now and I'm going to date and just have fun and everything is very superficial.
Right.
But it's that first step to really committing.
Right.
And if we do want to grow in our beauty inside, that then shines through our outside, we do have to make commitments and take life seriously on some level.
Right. Well, you're both mothers. I mean, I'm not a mother, so I can interview you, both of you. I mean, let's face it, the life of a mother is one of self-giving, right? From the beginning. And work. From the moment the first child's born till they're 50.
That makes me think of your garden metaphor again. We're the ones trying to water our little plants, and we hope something beautiful will come out of it.
One of the other magazines I wanted to talk about, this magazine, we partnered with this magazine for one of our events, Seeing the Everyday magazine.
Let's hold that up.
It's a really beautiful magazine about
seeing the everyday,
seeing the beauty and the prosaic, the everyday, and the way that they capture. The things that they capture, the pictures of, the dirty hands making things, or there's a favorite one in here of the beauty of the peanut butter and jelly crust, right? and it captures patience, the everyday,
right? Those are beautiful photographs.
grind of the everyday, and it talks about the things that are developed, the
Yes.
patience, the harvest over time, the beauty that's created, and this magazine just captures it in an artistic way. It's
lovely.
beautiful.
It also talks about, I've read articles about women who are taking care of sick children,
Yes.
disabled children, and how they, as you say, they capture each moment as if it's a treasure.
It's beautiful.
And it's a matter of attitude.
It is.
If you look at it like, oh, I got to get through this day, it's so difficult,
Yes.
or this is a moment to love.
Yes, meaning kind of step out of that routine and appreciate the moment.
Right, and have an attitude of, well, this is another opportunity to serve, to
Right.
grow in virtue, to be more patient, because they do focus on different
They put out a
virtues.
challenge that said, "Don't get mad, take out the camera." So it showed a kid dropped a thing of flour in the silverware drawer, and they got out, they took a picture of it and put it in the magazine. You know,
Oh,
this is an
yes.
opportunity. Let's
Yes.
take a picture of
Have
this.
fun with it, yeah.
I think actually that is a great way to capture beauty in our own lives.
Yes.
And if you can step back just by looking at something, actually if you are artistically inclined
Yes.
or creative, you can in fact take photographs and pictures of things.
And laugh about it.
Yes, and often what happens if you go on a family trip or vacation or do anything wonderful or fun with your children and you take photographs and you look at these photographs later on, sometimes you can appreciate that
What
that
great.
trip even
Yeah.
in a much more wonderful way.
Right.
By just kind of framing this moment of beauty
Right.
in your
Well,
camera.
I think it makes such a difference. You know, when you have so many children, young ones, you can get all caught up in the details. You have to be caught up in the details. You have to feed them. You have to make sure they don't run into the street.
Yes.
But there's, my mom used to say, "Oh, I wish you were all young again," because it's such an important time.
Right.
Yes.
Of
That
building.
Right, and they're so precious when they're young and innocent
Right.
and dependent, right? And they love each other so much.
Yes.
Yes, no, I think we can discover beauty everywhere, right? And it's also actually a great antidepressant if you are really down.
That's right. To go to the
It's, you know,
museum.
we're doing this show right now. It's mid-February and it's pretty depressing.
Raining and snowing at the
But
same
last week we had a day of a lot of snow and everything looked absolutely beautiful,
It did.
right? So
does.
even though while you're shoveling snow, take a moment to stop and look up and see how beautiful it is.
The beauty of creation.
All the white
is
snow
there.
against the blue
is.
sky.
I like that as an antidepressant. The other morning it was Valentine's and it was a very snowy day.
Yeah.
And I was in bed, didn't want to get out of bed. And then I woke up and I looked at, this is the beauty of having all girls. Next to my bed was this handmade Bali jar with the flour and breakfast made. And
they brought it to you
They
on
brought it up and
Valentine's Day.
so that I woke up to it. I mean, the girls have it in them to want to
That's
create
so
and add
true.
beauty to the world and serve. It's in
Yes.
our kind of makeup.
Yes, and we
Yes.
should not forget that.
And
even
it was
though-
beautiful. It really lifted me,
Yes.
and I entered into the day
Right,
with a whole new.
Wonderful.
perspective.
No, that makes the world a better place.
It
we
really
shouldn't
does.
we shouldn't forget that we as women do have that special sense and talent in many ways.
Yes.
And it is a great contribution to the world to add to
help
its
people.
to its beauty in small ways and big ways. The way the way we decorate, the way we love and take care of people we love, and the way that we look at the world.
And it
with an
doesn't take money
awareness.
or extravagance. It's sometimes
It's
the most
just-
simple things.
It's the little things,
Yes.
right, that give meaning to our lives.
Right.
And I think often, or mostly, that's really what beauty means. It has some deeper meaning.
Right.
And that's why it takes time to appreciate it, to take a moment, to pause, and to appreciate beauty, because there is more than just the external appearance. Usually it always connects us to something bigger and greater and wonderful.
Right.
And that is what we do by protecting and
Somebody was describing to me
Appreciate the
the
beauty.
difference between entertaining and hospitality. And they said when you're entertaining, you're trying to impress, but hospitality, you're trying to serve somebody in love on them.
Yes,
and there's
that
a big
adds
difference.
the beauty to it. It
Yes.
adds the warmth to it, right? And the humanity to it.
Right.
So we hope that you appreciated the little beauty we could add to your lives today with the little sparkle. And let's not forget, it's always good to have sparkle in
It
our
is.
lives and add beauty and discover beauty wherever we can. Thank you for joining us today. And just as a little reminder, you can write us an email, tinaandmaryshow@gmail.com. tinaandmaryshow@gmail.com. See you next time. Bye.
Thank you.
Production support provided by Medfield.tv. Access to our community.
Hi, I'm Geraldine Warren, and you're watching Medfield.tv.